Hey everyone, the numbers are in for Inlet Beach for September 2020. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and I just want to start by saying it continues to be a very, very active market out there, very much a seller's market. I'm going to go through some of the data and some of the pricing with you here shortly. One thing I want you to keep in mind, if you're thinking about selling in a market like this, or you know a friend, family member who's selling in a market like this, whether it's in Inlet Beach, 30A area, or somewhere else, remember, buyers right now are extremely motivated. I'm going to show you some numbers to give you some sense of that. But buyers are very, very motivated to make deals happen right now. And in plenty of situations, we're very, very much in the kind of market where you see multiple offer situations pretty frequently. So if you don't know what that is, property comes up for sale. 1, 2, 3, 4 buyers are offering all at the same time very quickly. So the seller now has multiple offers to navigate. There are a few different strategies on how to handle that. But keep in mind that many buyers who are offering on something may have already lost out on something else, and maybe more than once. They may have really tried to buy something, lost out in a bidding situation, a multiple offer situation. They may have got to try to get something else again and been through the same process. And many times we see a buyer that may be coming down from out of the area. Plenty of our buyers are coming from other parts of the country, other parts of the world. They have a very short list of things that they want to see when they get here. And by the time they get here, if they haven't tied something up, if they haven't made an offer and gotten under contract, it's very possible that their short list, there isn't even anything on it by the time they get here. That's the mindset of the buyer that is making the offers right now. So when you're setting price, make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table. This is the kind of market where you price, and you can price aggressively, especially depending on location, view, floor height if you're in a condo building, condition, rental history. If you have a great established rental history, many people are, that's a very important part of it. So again, don't leave any money on the table in this kind of market. Let me show you the numbers and you'll understand a little more why. So at the beginning of the pandemic, remember, we started following this chart. This is coming from a company called ShowingTime. ShowingTime is some software that real estate agents and brokers use to schedule showing appointments. So we can easily track which appointments were kept, which ones were canceled, those kind of things. So early on, we knew, this is early March, we knew that, or we would expect to see a pretty dramatic fall off in the number of people getting out and looking at real estate for obvious reasons. But we wanted to follow this to see and understand when people were coming back to the market. When did people start to look at real estate again? It's a pretty big unknown. So as you can see, by late May, early June, and I was surprised by this, I think a lot of people were surprised by this, we were showing just about as much real estate as we were in 2019. 2020 is the orange line, 2019 the blue line. And if you follow this all along, we've been showing pretty much since late May, early June, we've been showing just about as much real estate this year as we did last year. And in fact, look at since September, we're actually outperforming pretty consistently. So that's just the first part. We wanted to see, okay, when are people getting out again and looking at real estate? So the next part of the puzzle, next piece of the puzzle is, okay, are they getting out of the house just to get out of the house? Or are they getting out and really, are buyers making offers? And are they making offers, are they serious about buying? Are they making offers strong enough that sellers can accept them? And are we getting to contracts? Are we getting, how many new contracts are we getting written? And we started tracking that very early. We wanted to understand in any given week what the activity was like. So take a look at September, and this is just a continuation. If you've seen any of these videos already, this is just a continuation of what we've been seeing. Early September, we wrote, this is for the entire 30A market. We'll get to Inlet Beach specific in a minute. 163% more new contracts written in the first week. Following week, 93% more new contracts written year over year. The next week, 167% more new contracts written. The following week, 182% more new contracts written. 70% more new contracts written. You get the idea. And stop and think about this for a minute, just to think about how dramatic those numbers are. We're showing about the same amount of real estate as we were last year. And so it wouldn't be surprising to see some numbers that were tracking about the same. You might have 1 week plus 4%, down 7%, up 10, down 4, 3, something like that. But saying in a very tight in a tight number, very similar to what we saw in the showing activity. But what we're seeing here is we're having the same amount of showings, but the people that are out there looking are buying at a much higher rate. They're much more motivated, much more interested to get deals done. So again, back to what I said earlier, this is the kind of market where we have very, very motivated buyers. Next video, we'll get into this number of new listings. You can see there's a lot of red in that category, mostly because we just haven't had listings. We're still a very tight market. So again, if you know, I love this chart. This tells us a lot of things about the state of the market. This is for the entire 30A market. Then we'll go to Inlet Beach specific. Remember, the red line here represents the number of units for sale. The black line represents the number of closings. Look at what's happened in the market. We've held pretty steady since going back even to October of 2018. We've stayed pretty steady on inventory, pretty steady on sales. But April, May, look at what's happened, and look at where we've jumped to in the number of sales, and look at what's happened to the availability of real estate to purchase. And the big takeaway here, this months of inventory number is a number I really like to take a look at. The months of inventory takes into account the number of units for sale and the rate of which things are selling. So remember, traditionally in real estate, 5 or 6 months of inventory would signify a neutral market, meaning it would take us 30 days or so to run magazine ads, run newspaper ads. This is 15, 20 years ago, and get marketing out there. It would take another few months for the market to absorb the marketing, to understand what's for sale, get to negotiating a contract, and 30 or 45 days to have a closing. So if there's anything, if there's a normal in the real estate market, traditionally 5 or 6 months of inventory would represent a normal or neutral market. Again, another way to think about it, theoretically, everything that's on the market today would sell out in 5 or 6 months if nothing else came up for sale in the meantime. That would be a normal, neutral pace of things. A number that's smaller than 5 or 6 months of inventory obviously signifies that things are happening much faster. If things are happening much faster, that means there's more demand from buyers. There are less properties for sale. Seller's market, very much the definition of a seller's market. So look at the numbers here for the 30A market. If we go back to last year, we were hovering around, if you look at all of this from May of 2019 through March of this year, we were pretty much hovering around 6, 7, 8, 9 months of inventory, which if anything, 6 months-ish is neutral. 7, 8 months is maybe a bit of a sluggish market, buyer market territory, a touch of that. Obviously, April and May, we slowed down dramatically just because of the lack of closings there for a 30, 45-day period. But look at what's happened since then. And we haven't seen this in the 30-day market, and I have to go back further, probably 2004-05, to pull numbers like this. 3.64 months of inventory. It's decreasing. And in September, we were at 2 months of inventory, meaning you put something on the market, you didn't have a contract in 2 months, you were closed. And that's across the entire 30A market, averaging 2 months of inventory. It's pretty dramatic. If we look at Inlet Beach specific, not surprisingly, a pretty similar number. The red line has been hovering where the number of units for sale come May, June. Those things are getting purchased. Black line, remember, pretty steady sales here, but then we've seen a little uptick in activity. Not surprising in this months of inventory number. Inlet Beach, and this is just south of 30A, most of this, the market's been a little more hot the last couple years with all the new construction, the new development there right at the end of 30A. It's been a little bit more healthy than the entire 30A market if you look at that. And then, again, look at what's happened here. Very, very hot market. 2 months of inventory, right around 2 months, just over 2 months of inventory. So in September, over in that area, we have just a few sales for you. Over in Inlet Dunes, we had a closing for $377,000 for a condo. And then from there, it jumps up. Over on Winston Lane, we had a couple of sales, $1.5 million for 41 Winston Lane, 2.275 for 237 Winston Lane. Property over on Wall Street on the water, $4.5 million. Another one on Park Place, $4.6 million. Again, make sure you're not leaving any money on the table when you're pricing. I know a lot of you have already signed up for our eAlerts. If that's something you're interested in and you're trying to keep track of a market, this is probably the best tool I've seen for consumers in 17 years of selling real estate. The eAlert system, the one that we subscribe to, we can set up parameters for you to receive a notification anytime a property comes up for sale, if it goes under contract, if it changes price, or if it sells in any given area. So if we're trying to keep track of the Inlet Beach market, we can draw the boundary around that, and you'll be notified anytime any of those things happen. If you're thinking about purchasing, this is a really nice way to track, to see when new things come to the market right away or when their price changes. It's also a good way if you're buying to keep up to date with what real sales are. It's not what someone says a sale happened, or you talk to somebody out in the street and they say, oh yeah, I got $3 million for this, and when they actually got 2.5. But it's a good way to track. It comes right from our Realtor MLS system. It gives you the exact sale price and sale date and all the details, ties in. You can see the interior photos, all those things. We can set that up so you receive it instantly. So anytime anything happens, you receive an email. If you don't want it that frequently, we can set it so you just get everything batched a day at a time, a week at a time, or even a month at a time if you just want to check in every now and again to see how things are going. A lot of the owners that we're working with, potential sellers that we're working with, would rather just see it once a week or once a month just to keep track of value. So we can set it up any way you want. This is focused on Inlet Beach here, but we can set that system up for anywhere. We can set it up for a specific condo building. We can set it up for a particular neighborhood. We can set it up for a particular geographic area. We can check it. We can set it up for all Gulf front. However you'd like to customize it, we can do that if you want something outside of Inlet Beach. So if you are interested in that, shoot me a text is probably the easiest way. 850-527-0221 is my direct line. And just give me the parameters. If you want Inlet Beach eAlerts, just type in Inlet Beach eAlerts monthly, daily, whatever it is, and give me a good email address, and we'll set you up. There's no, no solicitation or anything. You'll just get these eAlerts. It's a really nice way to stay up with the market. Hope you all found this helpful. I know, again, very active market. Please, 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 if you're thinking of selling, if your friends, family are thinking of selling, even in other parts of the country, the market in a lot of parts of the country is very hot. Don't leave money on the table. Make sure you're pricing a little on the aggressive side. Hope you found this helpful. We'll be in touch next month. Stay well, stay safe.